Lesson is about power chords. Power chords basically are abbreviated bar chords. There is a page that you can download along with this lesson that shows the relationship between bar chords and power chords. So basically, if you take your regular bar chord and you take off these three strings and you play this note, and this note, you've got a power chord. Sometimes you will see it without the third note. But what we're going to do is we're going to learn it with that third note so that it's an option. We can take it off if we decide we don't need it. But if I can get you to play power chords, then I can get you to play bar chords. Because it's not a huge jump to go from this to that. It's fairly simple. Typically when people are having problems with bar chords, it's because at some point they tried to play like an F chord or some other kind of bar chord, and most of the time it was on an instrument that was difficult to play. You know, it had a high action, you know, very heavy strings, and right away they were discouraged. And so they say, well, I can't play that song, it's got bar chords. So again, we're going to work on power chords and work you into playing bar chords, and we're going to do that part in another lesson. Well, this lesson is about the shape-based process. Now, if you've already gone through some of the cage lessons, then you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. With the shape-based process, we end up taking whatever shape it is, playing it up the neck and back. Okay. Now, that is going to make it so that you learn how to play whatever that is, whether it's a guitar lick, a melodic phrase, a scale shape, an arpeggio shape, a movable chord shape, so that you can play those almost everywhere that you're ever going to play them. You know, so again, we're taking a small thing and getting as much mileage out of it as possible. So generally I teach this with power chords, and that's why I'm going to use that in this lesson. So again, we've got our power chord here. So we're going to go down to the first fret. We don't care what they're called, we're just learning a shape. And you know, whether guitar players like to admit it or not, basically we are shape players. We take a shape and we move it up and down the neck. You know, if I take, you know, right there I'm playing that in, you know, A minor pentatonic. If I need to play it in D minor pentatonic, then I played it in D minor pentatonic. So, and I can just move that up and down the neck. That's what we're going to do with these power chords. So with any kind of chord, what you want to do is you're going to apply the pressure to make the chord sound, and then you're going to release the pressure. You're not going to take your fingers off the strings, you just release the pressure and let the chord stop. You're going to do that 4 times on each fret. So you've got, go to the 2nd fret, go to the 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, 9th fret, 12th fret, 13th fret, and then go backwards. Eighth fret, 6th fret, 5th fret, 3rd, 2nd, Now, if you take that same exact shape and you drop it a set of strings, it still works on that grouping of strings. So we've got just following the same process we did a second ago. 10th fret, 9th fret. It's going to seem tedious when we do this. Is a reason we're doing it this many times. There is a reason that we are applying the pressure and then releasing the pressure with our fingers. Okay. So the way that we played that, if we were to just, hold the chord down and strum it 4 times, you're not engaging the muscles in this hand 4 times per fret. But by doing it the way that we are doing it, you're engaging those muscles. So you're strengthening this hand. And that is also going to help build up some endurance so that you can play for a lot longer. It will teach you how to use a lighter touch, because if you are trying to crush the strings every single time, your hand is going to get tired very, very quickly. So you have to learn how to conserve some of that energy and conserve some of that pressure. So by doing that, by going from the first fret up 12 frets and then back on one set of strings, and then dropping down and doing the next set of strings, within a few minutes you have played that chord, physically played it, because you're engaging those muscles 192 times. Now, there's the old rule that says it takes 7 days to learn something and to create a habit, and 21 to break it. So if you base that on 21, so that's basically 3 weeks, because we have 7 days in a week, times 3, we have 3 weeks. Do that exercise every single day, the way I just showed you. At the end of that 3 weeks, you will have played that chord 4,032 times. That's if you only do the exercise 1 time a day. And again, like I said, it's only going to take you a few minutes to do that. Now, at the end of 3 weeks, if you do something for 4,000 times, you're obviously going to be better at it, no matter how bad it sounds when you start out. And when you start out, it will sound bad. What you have to do is you have to work through that. Don't try to fix the mistakes. Just keep going. It's the act of doing that practice. It's the act of doing that exercise that's going to make that exercise work for you. Don't get overly concerned with making that perfect. It's going to happen over time. The biggest secret in music is it's repetition and time. You just keep going. So, again, after 4,000 times, you will be better at playing it. The alternative to that is to learn a bunch of songs that have that chord, and that chord will sound bad until you learn a ton of songs, or unless you take a handful of songs and play them over and over and over. And it's going to take a lot longer than 3 weeks. So my suggestion is to go through it that way that I just showed you. On a side note, my students that struggle with that kind of chord, it's because they don't do the exercise. My students that become proficient in that kind of chord very quickly, it's because they did the exercise. So hopefully that's going to help you kind of understand how to practice this kind of stuff. And I use the same technique whenever it is a scale shape. So a scale shape, I would go. That's a Mixolydian scale. I just go up. I just go up the neck and I go back. That helps me. That helps my hand memorize the movements that I need my hand to do. So, and that's the basis for that shape-based process. So, with anything that's movable, use that as the way to learn it. Now, when you get into the cage system, there's another component to it, and we will talk about that at a different time. So, hopefully that helped you.